Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Hernando podcast. I'm your host, Derrick, and today is going to be a very different episode. I've got announcements to make and stories to tell. And before we break into all of this, I want everyone to understand who's watching that there's a young lady joining me today, and this is Miss Lauren McLendon. How are you, Lauren?
Doing well,
So we have some cool things to talk about today, don't we?
for sure. Yes, I hope we get some good banter. I know I was on the podcast not that long ago, and it's like I forgot the microphones and cameras were there the whole time. We had a good conversation.
Yes, it was great. If anyone listening or watching missed it, go to therealhernando.com. Right there at the homepage. All the episodes are there. She'll be right at the top left hand corner. Um, and your episode was the last one published in some time ago for reasons that I'm going to talk about today. The podcast has kind of been on pause. Why are we on Zoom? Why do I have Lauren with us today? Lots to talk about and announcements to make. Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. It starts with, Lauren, um, me, my 47-year-old self, decided to cannonball into a pool on August 9th. And it did not go well.
The pool won.
The pool won that battle. Long story short, I wasn't paying attention and I jumped in the midsection of the pool where the shallow end slope is. And yeah, my left foot just kind of spiked into the floor. And yeah, so I had surgery on the 18th, got some hardware. I've got the trifecta. I've got plates, screws, and a rod. All right. So the trifecta is in place, but needless to say, it just put everything on pause. This is the first time I experienced anything like this, my first surgery. I did break
You've never had a broken, have you had a broken bone or anything before?
a broken toe,
That doesn't
which
count.
was tragic.
Well,
Okay.
I've had a broken ankle when I was in like middle school. I was like 13. I broke an ankle skateboarding and it took like multiple surgeries. Like they tried to do it without
Ooh,
putting a screw in, like
yeah.
to just not cut into me. And that didn't take. So then they had to cut into me, put in a
Ooh,
screw. But like relearning how to walk,
yeah.
that's, are you, because you're on crutches right now, or do you got a boot?
Oh, I've been on crutches for over 4 weeks now.
Okay.
And
So you're still at that point.
yeah, when I'm finally in the boot, it will be a solid 6 to 7 weeks on crutches. Um,
Ugh.
yeah, so I would never want to do this again. Hopefully my first post-op meeting or appointment exam was really good.
Okay.
Everything's in place. It was a new stent or splint. So that caused another 2 weeks. So on the 19th is my next post-op, and by then it should be in a boot. Um, but yeah, this was a tricky one because um, I technically broke my ankle, what they would consider the ankle, even though I have a fracture in my tibia and I had a fracture in my fibula, right? But what made this one a little more gnarly is then I got a spiral fracture up the fibula bone, which
You really did it good, huh?
so yeah. So I mean, when I say that, I think broken leg.
Yeah.
So it's an ankle leg thing, a tib fib, I've heard people say, which great, but what made mine different is the spiral fracture up. So it's put me down for the count, and I had to, lay up and just stop everything for a while. But and part of that was my studio, and I cannot access my studio because it's on the second level and there's no elevator. And I'm following the doctor's orders. I want to get through this. I want it done right the first time, especially going through PT. So if I can't cannonball correctly, I certainly don't want to try to crutch up steps. So that closed the studio down, which altered a lot of things. Made it so I couldn't book interviews for the Real Hernando. I didn't have enough banked up. You know, when I published Lauren's interview, that was the only thing I had left, without not realizing what was coming ahead of me as far as breaking my leg and
Right.
stuff. Right. And I have local clients that have been super understandable and have been loyal to me, and the type of loyalty where payment didn't stop, nothing changed, right? So love them. I have three. Shout out to Coach Camp, Neil Colley, and Melissa DeBar, and and then I had to kind of rework my home studio in my home office. So if I'm going to be trapped here, um, I had to get my computer system into my house. Well, I lied earlier about going up the steps to the studio.
I was wondering if you sent someone like on a recon mission with a backpack or if it
Well,
was you that went
well,
up
I
there
will
and got
say,
stuff.
pre-surgery, looking ahead, I knew what I needed from the studio. So I went back to my childhood and butt crawled up the steps, right, and butt bounced down. But I knew that was going to be the only time I would do it. It's just, let's make it count and get what I need. And I just pointed fingers as my mom and my girlfriend just unplugging stuff. And so, all right.
I will say though that would be really funny hosting guests and being like, "Let me take you up to my studio," and then you're just going
Yeah.
up one
Yeah.
step at a time, like
Yeah.
giving
Uh,
people the tour.
we need
Not
to
safe.
we need to install one of those chair lifts that goes up the
Yes.
wall. Do you remember those commercials? Like when you would like watch Prices Right? The commercials during Prices Right were like medicine, wheelchairs, chair lifts, Anyways, I digress. I will squirrel when needed. But so things are now in a place where I'm up and going. I'm still crutching, but I've definitely been steady, getting back to work, adding more and more each day, each week. And I then, of course, had to think, well, what am I going to do with the Real Hernando? Um, and before just, I could have said, I'm done for the quarter. Sorry, the podcast needs to be on hiatus. Um, I don't want to do that because I don't want to do that to the audience, but also, quite frankly, I run a business as well. And we have a beautiful title sponsor, Wesley Meadows Retirement Community. And I want to continue the show so we can continue their ads too. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a business side to this as well. Um, so I didn't want to do that. And I've been wanting to freshen this podcast up for a while anyway. And I'm building to the announcement here. I'm going to kind of give it away. I've always wondered what it would be like for the Real Hernando to be a co-hosted show. This is experience I have with two other podcasts I host and produce. The biggest one I have is called the Rhythm Section Podcast, where my drummer and myself interview local musicians and artists. And then I have a dual host show with my friend Motivate with our Coach Camp. And I'm wearing his shirt,
I
Motivate with
noticed
Coach
that
Camp.
earlier.
And
Represent.
I forgot to mention earlier, backtrack, record scratch. I wore this for Coach because it was his pool that I jumped into. So there you go. So shout out to Coach Camp. Um, but goodness, where was I? Um,
You're
oh,
building up to
so
the reveal.
so I've had quite a bit of experience with the co-host format, and I love it. I love it. I prefer it. Um, Especially during interviews, it's another perspective sitting next to you that's asking their curious questions, which is something I wouldn't think of, and it makes for a greater interview in my opinion. And then it also opens up opportunities to do something like this, Lauren, and where it's just a straight co-hosted episode. So
Right.
um, totally spoiled, where this is going. I reached out to Lauren to see if she'd be interested into trying this out with me and being the first co-host for the Real Hernando. Yes.
Yay!
And cue the applause. Um, so when I had Lauren on the show, I kind of already was thinking ahead, Lauren. You know, I was not, maybe you can call it scouting. Maybe, maybe. As the story goes, you and I met last year in my old studio. You had collaborated with a former client of mine on his podcast. And then fast forward a long time, and just what, a couple months ago, we bump
Yeah.
into each other at the DeSoto Arts Council back porch party. Um, I believe it was July. Now
Yeah, it
that
was
I
either
think
June or
about it,
July because that's when they do those
yes,
parties. It's hot.
and yeah, and it was hot that night. But I, rather than have a acoustical band play that night, they let me DJ it. So I had one of the Fridays was me DJing. So that's when you and your family were there. Remind me of your husband's name. I always get it wrong.
Sadler. Sadler.
Sadler, like
Yes.
like the word sad and then
Look.
lur.
Yes.
Okay.
His older brother's name is Hunter, so they
Yeah.
wanted a name that went with that, and
Yeah.
so Hunter and Sadler kind of they flow together really well.
Or
So, but
Adam
it's a unique
Sandler.
one.
Then you got Adam
Yes, he
Sandler.
gets that a lot where people throw an N in there. It's spelled the
Yes.
same but without the N. So,
Yeah. Yeah, good to know.
yeah.
So Sadler. And Sadler's folks were there and then it was cool. It just turned into a great chat with you and your husband and Kit Kitchens was there. Got
Hmm.
got to meet him. Um, and we talked about music and all kinds of different things, which we're gonna wrap to here in a minute. But it was at that point where I was like, I need to get you on the show. Let's do an interview.
Yeah.
And then leading up to your interview, I was like thinking to myself, I want to see how this goes because there's some good chemistry in the podcast sense. Um, maybe I could make this shift. And it was breaking my leg that triggered the change in a way,
Taking your leg forced your hand.
Yeah, exactly. And I've definitely sat back and I'm seeing more and more blessings every day as far as why now, why this type of, when you question and then you just put faith into it and like, okay. I don't have cancer, so I had to remind myself of that. I got a lot of friends battling right now. Um, but yeah, one of the blessings is it's forced me to make some pivots in a lot of different areas, not just this podcast. I mean, across the board, my whole business had to pivot in different ways, and this is one of them. So, moving forward, me and Lauren are gonna work out our schedules and figure out a way to continue bi-weekly content, and some episodes will be just us, but the majority, I would say, still, I want to do interview. I mean, that's really what this podcast is about, is to spotlight other people, bring them on the channel, give them a platform, and push it out for them. Only now I'm going to have
Absolutely.
the wonderful Lauren assisting me in that. Um, but let's bridge this to your place as alderman at large, because that is a facet that also interested me in you with having you on, Lauren, is because you're on the inside more, and you know what's going on, so we can have like us. I'm not trying to have a producer meeting here and set this in stone, but there can be moments where it's like, all right, let's listen to Lauren educate us on what's going on. Oh, there's a new roundabout again. Oh, roundabout number 7.
Everything's a
Awesome.
roundabout.
Stuff like that. Um, and so before I want to talk kind of boundaries when it comes to politics, Lauren, please feel free now to tell us a little more about when you became alderman and what that's looking like for you right now.
For sure. So never thought I'd get into politics. This time last year, I would have had no idea that I was going to be alderman at large or even thinking about it. It wasn't until like October or November that I was seriously weighing it. I ran in the spring of this year, spring of 2025, and made it to the runoff. won in the runoff. If you ever think a vote doesn't matter, it sure does at the local level. The margin on it, the turnout overall was very small, and then the margin was
Yeah.
very small. So I don't remember the exact number, but it's one of those, to the tune of about 60 people voting a different way. I wouldn't be the alderman at large.
Yeah.
So it gets down to really, your vote really matters on these local
That's
ones,
that's pretty crazy. Like,
isn't it?
think of a even a semi-full restaurant. There you go.
Yeah,
That's 60 people, and that's all it took. It's just basically a big room of people and
exactly.
in a county
And
that's very large, or city, even, we're on a city
well,
level
and that's
here.
what's
But
so wild is, the population of Hernando's way bigger than the number of people that came out to vote. We only had just over 1,500 come out and vote. Granted, that was the only thing on that runoff ballot was just who do
mhm.
you want for alderman at large. So it's a little hard to motivate people for just one topic. But I ended up getting the position. I got sworn in, had my first meeting at the beginning of July, July 1st. I think actually was the first Tuesday in July.
Mhm.
So by the time we're recording this, like I've had a couple of months to get my feet wet and kind of suss out how the meetings go. But something that I've really strived for in my position is to have transparency and clarity and hopefully make it where there's less of a feeling of those that are like super in the know versus the rest of the citizens because we're managing taxpayer dollars and it's
Mhm.
important for folks to have that level of, I guess, trust in us that we're doing the right things, by them with it. And being at large, I'm representing the entire city, and so I have to really step back and think about just not where my husband and I live, which is in Ward 3, but also where we previously lived in Ward 4 with my in-laws, and where some of my good friends live in Ward 5, et cetera. You got to look at the whole city.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but there's definitely a lot of goings on in Hernando as far as different events, and the Chamber of Commerce does several things throughout the year, let alone other organizations like you'd mentioned, the Arts Council having their back porch parties. I mean, there's a lot of
Yes.
groups trying to do things, and showing up and having people there is half the
Right.
battle.
Mhm.
One of the coolest things I've gotten to see, and it was I think the first ribbon cutting I went. Yeah, I've only been at one ribbon cutting. It was for the high school here in Hernando,
Oh,
and
you started with a big one. Holy smokes.
huge. And I
Yeah.
mean, the amount of people that were gathered for that was
Mhm.
phenomenal. And then getting to walk the halls and chat with some of the students, that was just very eye opening to
Yeah.
like the future of Hernando. I mean, my husband and I haven't even been married for a year yet, but it's like, well, shoot, if we're still here, like, this might be the old high school by then, if we
Yeah.
had kids,
Well, let me
So,
let me chime in on ribbon cuttings
yeah.
and talk about how important they can be for the one listening that's here wanting to build a business or grow their business, run a business, and serve a service to Hernando, whatever your business may be. Um, Going to ribbon cuttings puts you in the front lines of all the people that you want to know,
Hmm.
and you're shaking hands, and there's a good core group of people that go to almost all of them. You're going to find our mayor at a lot of ribbon
Pretty
cuttings.
much everyone he can make,
Yes.
like, you'll see
And
him there. Yeah.
and and for about almost 2 years, I was one of those maniacs that went to as much as possible. Um, and I had to slow down for a bunch of personal stuff, anyways. But still good friends with the chamber. I just, time is tricky sometimes, right? But what I learned and what I found was you're getting in front of the right eyeballs, right?
Absolutely.
And you never know the relationship you're going to make. And you have small ribbon cuttings, you have big ribbon cuttings. My first ribbon cutting before I had a studio was at the office. And if you don't know, our office is a 300-year-old house. I mean, how old is that house, right? Like, and
Yeah, it's got to be one of the OGs. Yeah.
but it makes it quaint. It's not a brick building, right? It's a
Right.
old house, just like Baker's Corner, what used to be Coffee
So much of
Central.
Hernando is like that,
Right.
you
So
know.
that's special. We got a cool chamber office. And then when you don't have a business when you have a business without a brick and mortar and you go to the office to do it, you get pictures in front of the school old house. And so that was my first experience. And a smaller percentage showed up from the high school ribbon cutting. I'll just say that. But
That one's gonna be hard to beat. Like I can't think of
yeah,
anything that was that
yeah.
massive. Who knows?
And boy, when I was really hot and heavy going to the ribbon cuttings, I was in the know. You know, you're hanging out with the mayor again. You might see him every week. So then, hey, how's this going? Or what's this looking like? And he's a very personable person, and he'll talk to you. A lot of aldermen go,
Hmm.
like you are now. That's where I met Chad Wicker. I met Chad Wicker at my first
Yeah,
ribbon cutting. Okay, and then through him became friends with Ben Piper, and they actually did business with me. And they have a podcast called The Boardroom, still
hmm,
going, but they had to move on and do it themselves because they couldn't pay my $3,000 a week salary. No, just kidding. And I basically said, whatever you make as an alderman, give it to me. That's what I said. No,
just
um,
sign that check on over.
but I got to know those guys so well, and I enjoy them, and we can cut up just like and that's all because of ribbon cutting. That's all it all started. But I digress. So going back to you, Lauren, how many? For context, this is actually going to be dropping on September 16th. So and we're filming on the 10th. So there's a 6-day lag. Something changes. We can't help you there. But as we record now on the 10th, how many meetings have you gone to?
I've had, oh man, this is a tough question. It's five is where I'm at right now. So we had
Okay.
two, it's two a month. So
Yeah.
two in July, two in August, and then the first one in September we had, and that was where we finalized our budget. So we've had a lot of tough, I apologize. I silenced my phone and it still went through. We've had a lot of tough decisions as this new board to make. We had to set the millage rate. We just had to approve the budget. And that's like a typical cadence for approving the budget. The thing that's more challenging this year is having new aldermen. So both myself and Kit Kitchens were, we hadn't been involved in that process before. And we're both really inquisitive and from the private sector. So we keep trying to pivot everything into like, how would we run this as a business? How would we run it as our household? And kind of framing questions from that perspective on it, which is a little
Yeah.
different. And we're still in that, 5 meetings, that's not a super long time to get to know each other. But I will say,
Hmm.
like, the fifth meeting, I think flowed the most smoothly of the ones that we've had so far. So we'll have another one then next week, next Tuesday. Um, and hopefully we just continue on
Good
and
deal.
kind of find our stride on there.
And you will. You'll feel each other out and learn everybody's personality and how to approach things. And uh, but
Exactly.
but like I said on your last episode, if Chad or Ben give you any problems, just let me know. Okay, I got a direct line to them. We'll make them know. Um, so to continue with the your position as alderman at large, this is something now where it can start leaking into politic talk,
Right.
and and that's something that's never happened on this show, and I don't want it to happen on the show, but I want to figure out a way where we can toe that line, Lauren, and
Right.
understand that. Well, the co-host of the Real Hernando is alderman at large, so okay, let's hear about what's going on in the city, but in a very factual way.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, not opinion, not we're certainly not going to, talk ill of anyone else. You know, it's all business. What's on paper right now? What are the votes? And what are we looking at now? And then leave the opinion to the listener. If the listener
Mhm.
wants to have an opinion on it, by all means, um, that's up to you. But we're kind of when we start breaking into alderman talk, if you will, it's
Yeah.
it. Our goal is to make it so we're educating you.
Yep. Informative, not
Right.
anything like controversial. And so
Yeah.
you're exactly right. Like it's tough being up there. So the other six and the mayor, I have so much respect for them to have put themselves out there in campaigns and then having to be there in those meetings too, where it's recorded. And trust me, it is not like a conversation like this. It's we're all up there like lined up,
Oh yeah.
elevated and like on microphones, and it's not a cozy
Yeah,
experience. It's you feel a little exposed, I suppose, out there. But I mean, it's for the benefit of the citizens,
for sure.
that they get
Yeah.
that transparency on how we talk through everything. And again, like I talked about it on the podcast before, those like stages of team building. We formed and we're I think maybe done storming, and so now we're in that performing, like norming and performing
Yeah.
stage. So that's exciting for me because then we can get some stuff done, and getting that budget approved I think was just a huge thing to get done. And it's one of those where it's like it's factual now. It was
Hmm.
not a unanimous vote, but it's done and we're
Yeah.
moving forward. So
Yeah. And we don't have to go talking about the people that voted no and yes and why. And I wish
exactly.
it just is what it is.
Yep.
And this is what we're looking at now. And yes, the 15th roundabout is in the future. No, just kidding. I'm loving them. If I'm going to be controversial, I'll do it one time right now. I love roundabouts. There, I said it. And I'm loving all the new ones that coming in. We
Once
got
you learn how to use them, they're
yes,
they're good. It makes me think of when iPhones used to have the fingerprint on them versus the face recognition. I
yeah,
remember thinking, how am I going to get used to having this face thing and the swipe up? But once you learn it, it is
yeah.
so nice. So to
It's
not have to sit and wait for a left turn at Mackinvale and Green Tea, I love it. I
yes,
just know I'm going to be moving and grooving.
yes,
So
yes, and the one at Holly Springs.
yeah, oh, that
Uh,
one's fabulous too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, let's continue down the path of getting to know Lauren, shall we? Um,
sure.
and because you want to build a relationship with your audience, and what, quite frankly, like as far as me as the host all these years, there's only one time I came on this show with Coach Camp where I kind of just talked about my stuff and life and whatnot. Other than that, you're getting the guest's story, and the host's personality hopefully shines through. So you're still building a relationship with the audience in that way. But something like this, where it's just a co-host thing, and now the show has the ability to have some cool banter for me,
For sure.
um, opens it up for the audience to really get to know us more. And that's what I've learned through my experience of other co-hosted podcasts I do. So, but we need to make this about Lauren again. I need to stop talking.
You're fine.
One of the shocking things I learned about you back at the back porch party is you actually used to play the bass guitar, which is my trade for 30 plus years. So I'm dying to know, how that came to be and what that experience was like for you.
Sure. When I was in middle school, high school years, my dad had always been very musical, played piano, guitar, trumpet, and bass. And so, he would just kind of play around on the guitar, and then I would want to play around on the guitars. And I liked the bass because it just seemed like it would be so much easier. There's less strings to it. It seems
Yeah,
to be like a joke too, like
it is.
oh, the bass player is,
Yeah.
the dumb one. But I thought it was cool. And like a lot of the songs that I liked were very bass heavy at that time. And so,
What were the songs?
I'm very much like a 90s, like alt music kind of
So,
person.
so Gen X, like Gen X, consider yourself Gen X.
Well, I mean, I'm a millennial for sure, like age wise, but like a
Hmm.
lot of the bands I really like, Nine Inch Nails, Tool,
Yeah.
Marilyn Manson. But then I also liked Black Sabbath a lot, and that was one that my dad
Okay.
liked too. And so he had like the vinyl and everything for it. And I think
Yeah.
I do have on my record player a couple. I think I have some of the Black Sabbath ones. I haven't turned on my record player in a little bit, but
See, right
my dad,
there, right there. Let me punch in.
yeah,
Would anyone have guessed that was your taste in music? I certainly wouldn't have thought that. And now you're even cooler to me now. All
oh,
right.
I'm glad.
You went up another notch, Lauren, because this is the stuff I grew up on too.
Yeah.
My favorite bands, Metallica, Beatles, 1A,
Oh,
1B.
Beatles is good. Yeah.
There's that debate in my head, but because of being a musician for so long, I've had to learn songs from every damn genre out there, and a lot of artists right now I'm learning a bunch of Pink Floyd music for a project.
Mm,
I'm in a Huey Lewis and the News tribute band. So I have a lot of
that's
fun with
cool.
that.
Yeah.
So now I hear about all this wonderful music that you like. Falls right in line. I was 14 when Nirvana came out, so it just hit me like a lightning bolt, right at the right age. You know,
Yeah.
um,
That would be a very like impactful age to be at. Because like
yeah.
I don't know, like Green Day was another one that I really liked when I was in middle school, high school, I guess high school age, really. And yeah, Nirvana was a good one too. But I know like playing the instrument and like if I was gonna do the music, I am definitely not a singer, like at all. It's
Neither am
bad.
I.
So I was like, well, the only way I could like participate in this is if I like played an instrument. And at that time, when my dad was teaching me, I was like 13, 14. So I had been playing piano for quite some time. His mom and his his grandmother both played piano like until until she passed. My grandmother, I mean, she
Hmm.
played piano even like at her retirement home. Like they had a piano and she would go and play. She played in the church, and we would just practice anytime I was over there, play songs. And she could sing, I could not. So I was like, I'll
Yeah.
play the piano while you sing. But you can't necessarily like travel with the piano somewhere
Yeah.
to play. And so I was like, well, this is exciting to be able to learn a different instrument, and it's so different.
And how old were you
Um,
again at the time?
I was like 13 or 14 when I
Yeah.
started to play bass,
Yep.
and
It was a
I had
four. Was
played.
it a four string?
It was, yes. So
What kind of bass was it?
it's Fender brand, but
Nice.
I couldn't tell you like a specific anything more specific on it because I just became like a Fender loyalist at that point. And like when I had my first like new car, it had like Fender speakers in it. I like paid
Yeah.
extra for the upgrade. Like I'm a little embarrassed to admit now because it's like really that was kind of a waste of money, but I mean it was really good sound
Yeah.
system though.
Chances are it was either a Fender Jazz or a Fender Precision bass. I
Okay.
mean, those are the two big dog for decades and decades and decades, still gold standard basses to this day, but that's so fascinating to hear. So, what was the first song you learned?
Iron Man.
Ah, I love
Yes.
it.
It's I mean it's the easiest one to start picking it up and then like having the like through
Yeah.
line with it.
Yeah.
It because you have to learn stamina. Like the intro is like
Sure.
classic, iconic, but
Yeah.
then to have the through line and pretty much the whole Paranoid album by Black Sabbath, like anything in that, like Fairies Wear Boots and different songs. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of stamina, I guess, in
Well,
having your
oh,
keeping your fingers
yeah.
taut on it and then also
Hmm.
being able to like keep
Hmm.
strumming. It's
And
it's
then,
weird. You don't think of it because you see people at concerts and you
yeah.
just it seems so effortless just what they're doing.
Well, when you finally build that muscle memory where the physicality of it is not an issue anymore, then you really start growing because now what you need to learn is, all right, well, I can physically, I got the stamina, but does it sound good? Is the
Mm,
rhythm strong? Am I going too fast, too slow? What's the feel? How does it sound? And then that's where you really can start seasoning your your playing. But yeah, the front end, it's very frustrating and it's easy to kind of give up on because it's so frustrating. Your fingers won't
that's
do what they
how
want to
I was
do, and
even with piano, which is a lot more straightforward. And I felt so just like I could read the music, I knew what I needed to play, but it felt like every note was so forced. And my sister, that's 5 years younger than me, I don't know what it is. She could just play effortless, like to the point that we had the same piano teacher, and she's like, Lauren, you need to spend more time practicing. And I'm like, I'm already spending minimum 90 minutes a day on it. And then she would tell
hmm.
my sister, you don't need to practice so much. And it's like, she would maybe sit at the piano for 15 minutes to like run through a couple songs. It would drive me insane. But she just had this
Yeah,
like natural,
yeah,
she would get that to where you could feel that she was feeling something with the music more so than me
hmm.
playing notes, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. And that's the seasoning. And
Yes,
yeah, and
that's a
some
good way to
yeah,
put it. Yeah.
and some people get it right out of the gate. Like there's naturals out there. You get these kids that are 8 years old singing and playing the piano.
Little prodigies out there.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's different for everybody. For me, it took a lot of grunt work and years and dedication to try and really for me it was always trying to play in bands. So I've been playing professionally since 2001 at different levels,
That's
right?
huge.
So yeah, in 2001, I probably for the year made $800 for the whole year, right? But if I played, I was playing for money. I mean, I was in a
Yeah.
cover band. I'm out trying to get gigs, and I've been doing it for over 20 years.
Well,
And
I think,
that's what makes you better is when you start playing with other people and having to be forced to learn songs that you would never want to learn or never think to learn, and
mhm.
on and on and on. So that's
And
really
feeding
where,
off of each other in a
yeah.
band too, I can only imagine. And well, and my dad, I think this might have also been part of why I wanted to play bass is like getting into high school, you inevitably start talking about college and like what your plan is with that. And my dad and mom met at the University of Tulsa, which is where I ended up going. And my dad, much like me, did an engineering path, but he also I don't think it was a minor. I think it was a dual major in music. And so there's like all these pictures of him and his little sister like doing concerts while in college, and he had a band. And I've at that age, I think, is when I like kind of found some of his old like
Hmm.
set sheets and stuff. And I was like, how cool is this? Because in my mind, my dad is just a nerdy professor that does research, talks about topics I didn't know anything about, like at that point in time, you know.
Yeah,
I was like, you were in a band, like how cool is
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Where are your instruments? Like, let me try to learn that. But I've never played professionally. If anything, I've paid people to have to listen to me. So,
Hey, look, I've played many free things early on, but yeah, it music, and we'll move from music here in a minute, but music certainly had a
it's your
connection with me.
passion, so I'm
Yeah,
glad that we're able to talk about it more.
it's my number one, and going back to the leg and pivoting and refiguring and rethinking my life and having this downtime. Um, the music has been a topic in my head on, um, you know, what do I want to focus on? There's always been SRP Studios and then music, and music has been dormant for me for a long time.
Hmm.
It's this year that I'm really starting to get heavy into it now. Like I said, now I'm in a Huey Lewis and the News tribute band that's going to start gigging. We had our debut show and it sold out, so it went well.
That's awesome.
And then now I'm auditioning for a Pink Floyd tribute band, which I'm going to get. I know it. I know all the people.
Yeah.
Um, um, so I'm like, while I'm here with a broken leg, let's learn some. Let's start working on these
Take
projects.
advantage of it. Yeah.
And
Spin it into a positive.
yeah, so now every day I play music first, and then I do business stuff,
Yeah.
and then that's what it feels like, business stuff. But um, but thanks to you and this Zoom call we're doing right now is for SRP. Of all the things that SRP covers under the umbrella, um, this is the first big move that I'm making um, since closing shop. You know, I have other things that are still dormant that have not come back. They will be, but right now the Real Hernando's back, and I'm very excited. I love how this went. I think this was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're gonna have a good time. I could feel your personality early on. That's why I knew that if you were willing, and now that you had met me before, we had all these different moments of meeting each other. You spent time in my studio for the Real Hernando. I figured at that point, it wouldn't be creepy if I was asking you, right? So, but our personalities and senses of humor, I mean, the music background already. I mean, you're locked in here. But so yes, to the audience, we're gonna be back every 2 weeks. Um, each week or each episode is probably gonna be different. Co-host. Um, we might do another co-host one. Maybe the two next ones, which will be the 16th, which is the day you're watching this one right now, and then the one coming up will be the 30th. Maybe that'll be another co-host, and because what I need to talk to you Lauren, about after we hit record or stop. I do have I do have an interview booked on October 1st, and got a Facebook message yesterday as we record this, Lauren. I need to fill you in on that. A business owner approached us, wants to be on the show, and I love it when people ask.
Yeah.
Several of our my guests have been on the show because they asked, and the most insane story is Wesley Meadows. That's how I met them. They reached out to me to see if they could be on the show for various reasons to promote the whole facility. And that, of course, I said yes. And that's when I meet the right people there, build a relationship, and then next thing you know, they're my sponsor, right? So it goes to,
Yeah.
podcasting is like a community in itself. You're connecting and building relationships with your guests. And Lauren, you're going to experience this now. You're going to start to get to know a lot of different people because of this podcast. It's just a natural byproduct of it. It's just, you might not ever speak to the person again, or you might be friends, or that connection might lead to business. You never know.
Yeah.
Various things can happen. So, anyways, things to work on, things to talk about. Lauren, again, thank you for doing this
Of
with
course.
me.
Yes.
We're gonna see how, we're gonna make 2025 end strong, and then
Absolutely.
we'll see what next year brings. Looking forward to collaborating with you more. And any last words, Lauren? I've been hogging the mic, which is going to be a problem. Lauren, you're going to have like a bell. So when you just hit the bell, and that means Derrick, okay, it's time to stop talking. My turn. My turn.
I might be able to mute you, like if I want to, just mute you for the recording.
No, I'm the host over here. I'm the host of the
Oh, so you got
Zoom.
like, admin, you can shut it down, so I can't do
Yes,
it.
I
Well,
have I have presidential power over here on the Zoom call.
well,
But
I just thank you for the opportunity, Derrick. And it was funny when you called me because it was already a yes, and it was almost like you're trying to talk yourself out of a sale. And I was like, no, no, like you're good. Like this sounds like such a fun opportunity.
yeah,
So I'm
it's good,
excited about it.
and it will be fun. It will be fun.
Yes.
It's going to be so much fun. We might want to do it weekly. We'll see. But again, everyone, thank you for your patience, and I hope you can come along the ride with us, and the shifting and the everything needs a polish sometimes. Sometimes you need a spring cleaning, if you will. You need a reboot,
Yep.
something to kind of reinvigorate. And that's what this is. And I don't know what's going to look like 3 weeks from now or 3 months from now. Me and Lauren work together more, we're going to have ideas and we're going to try things. We're going to be
Yep.
experimental too, and do different things, all with the mission to, spotlight community, inform community, and then show off our crazy awesome personalities. Right.
We're pretty cool.
All right. Again, thank you, Lauren. Everyone, go to therealhernando.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the right places. And when you are on the website, click that sponsors tab, and you'll see all of our beautiful sponsors on that page. Click the icons of their logos, and it will take you straight to their website. And please patronize them while there. Thank you. And my name again is Derrick, and the host, and I'm already excited about how things are going to be moving forward. And I hope you are too, people. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later.